Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I'm James and this is Joanne Chow.
Nice to meet you all.
And we're going to be starting shortly. Right now it's exactly 11 o'clock. We'll probably give everybody a few more minutes to come in, just 2 minutes. So in the meantime, we could do some housekeeping. So in the chat box, you could actually ask us questions anytime. And at the end of the presentation, we'll be happy to answer any of these questions. So basically, it'll be about a 30-minute presentation. We're going to be talking about how to 20x your revenue, demystifying the fashion tech industry here in Asia. So we're going to have a presentation with a PowerPoint and answer any questions. And just so you know, we're also going to be talking about our accelerator program. And I think that's going to be something very interesting for a lot of you out there. So any questions, maybe give us like a virtual hello, a hi, that would be really great. So perhaps we'll begin. So today, again, we're talking about demystifying fashion tech in Asia and how to 20x your revenue. I'm James, and this is Joanne. So Joanne Chow, to give a quick introduction.
Hi everyone, my name is Joanne Chow, and I'm here to share with you our great presentation that is coming back on live shortly. What is Elzalvo? Well, Elzalvo is an ideas lab. We're here in Hong Kong, and it was built around 2.5 years ago. We're here to focus on your talents so that you can actually take your frustration, leave it at the door, and walk through the journey with us. My brother and I have been in manufacturing and trading for over 60 years. He and I inherited a family business over 10 years ago. So last 10 years, we've been growing in trading and manufacturing. Around 8 years ago, I also ventured out to start in retail and distribution. So we do have experience in retail distribution, trading, manufacturing. Around 2 years ago, we started Elzalvo because we really believe that the future is in collaborative efforts and in growing with different parties throughout the world. So we're here to share with you this great accelerator program James and I have come up with, and we really hope to attract different people and different talents into this part of the world.
Yeah, so thanks again for everybody for joining. I'm James Kwan. I'm the executive chairman of Jumpstart, and I think my quote says it all. I'll just read it very quickly. This is something that we really believe in. Not all founders are created equal. Some are amazing visionaries, but need strategic partners like Elzalvo and Jumpstart to help them develop a sound business strategy. So Jumpstart in Asia, we're a platform that connects the tech startup community in the region. And you're going to learn more about us a little later, and there's a slide about that.
So I'm here to talk a little about Elzalvo, and James here are going to talk about Jumpstart. I'm just going to try to stop that cursor from moving so that way I can focus. Yes, Elzalvo tagline is co-creation, innovation, and elevation. We created it to think about how we can help brands build up. And over the years, we've been successfully able to help brands grow from 5% to 20% revenue. And we're here to share with you a few case studies of ours. The last few years, we've also developed R&D resources and a full service ecosystem and ways in which we can use our supply chain, our logistics, manufacturing know-how to help brands grow. This year, because of COVID, we've also been able to help foreign brands enter into a Chinese market. So we've looked at ways in which to help people, despite their brands being overseas, come to Asia, come to China, and also look at ways to domesticate and localize. My fellow brother, Jackson, he's in quarantine in China right now. He's actually was here with us just a few days ago during a launch,
yes.
But he's back in the factories and back where everything's happening. We're here to knit fashion together with cutting edge technology, and we've been looking in this space for over 2 years now, and we're here to help these technology grow in this space. So I guess the first topic is usually asked, why Asia? But there's not the reason why we're here today to talk about Asia. We're here to talk about why Generation Z, why us, and why we're able to grow businesses. The case study that I wanted to share with you in specifically is company A, B, and C that we worked through in the first few years of inception. Company A and B are British companies that we actually first manufactured for them many years ago. And these are cases where this is a turnover and cost example. With them, the first year, they probably purchased an order of 3 million, but over a course of 2 to 3 years, you see that they multiply exponentially. And I can share a little bit on why, because cost, purchase, sourcing, as well as retail really makes a difference. And when you can sell the products we sell you, you also are able to grow. That's one example of how we help brands, but on a manufacturing front. We will also help discuss a little bit on retail distribution as well as localized growth. Brand B and brand C, as I've illustrated, the reason why they've exponentially grown on year 2 and 3 is because they received further capital injection. When we see private equity in the space the last 10 years, you definitely see how that growth changes. And this was before the first PE firm bought them. Company C was a French company that started really small as a design studio, and we remember bringing our suitcase into them and them working with us through a lot of sampling, and we've been able to grow them exponentially. This is an example of cost. This means cost products. And the next slide, we're going to share with you the revenue, because the revenue generated from costs is far outweighs, and this is when it's more important to follow people's journey. So across the times we've followed brands specifically, we've noticed that that jump from the first season to second season to third season, usually 2 to 4 seasons make up the first 2 years. We really do see that development stage as a very critical mass and how we help people grow. My brother is on the ground in China, and he actually does a lot of development R&D work. And because of that, we were able to really scale up to make things that are unique for company B, C, and A. And multiples, this is when it gets more interesting. Because of this particular case study was looked into further, Company C did get buy out by 2 subsequent PE firms afterwards. B and A scaled independently with listing exercises, but as you can tell, these growth examples are ways in which over the years, following brands, we've actually followed people. We don't follow just growth. We also follow the DNA of brands and seeing what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses and how we can actually bridge that gap. These are ways in which we actually think our accelerator program will look deeper into and in hope of helping businesses grow through the process.
Yeah, so I'm here to give you a quick glimpse of Jumpstart, where we make innovation matter. We actually enable the growth and transformation change for a lot of startups. What we do here, we're a platform to connect the startup community. We have many lines of business. We actually have a media arm where we actually have intelligence in 11 countries in 39 cities. But most importantly, we also work with accelerators and incubators. So we work with a lot of these programs, and we develop teams from the very beginning. So we bring in early stage teams. We help their business grow as they develop. For us, their multiples grow as well. So in our next slide, you'll see some of the examples that we had from past accelerators, which I believe these metrics are unheard of, really unmatched, especially in the region, because we do things a bit differently. 80% of our teams actually receive commercial contracts, proof of concepts, or MOUs during the program, and our programs are 3 months long. We also had 60% of the teams that received term sheets or confirmed investments during the program. And how do we do something like that? Because we run our accelerators totally different. A lot of accelerators really rely on demo day, and they really rely on getting investors to come in, and we believe at that point it's too late. What we have as a company and a platform here as an ecosystem builder is we have a network. Joy and I both have a network. And what we want to do is extend that network, allow these teams to grow, develop, and have these opportunities to get commercial contracts. As your revenue grows, I also think your investment naturally comes. And that's a different model that we're really trying to create here at the Elzalvo project. Next slide, please. So right now we're creating something really special. So Joanne and I came together recently, and we want to really develop the ecosystem. So we have the Elzalvo project powered by Jumpstart. It's an ideas lab. Actually, if we could spin the camera one day, or we have subsequent meetings, especially for the teams that want to join, this is actually one of the most beautiful spaces I've seen. That Joanna comes from a design background, and she's really created something special here. In addition, what we have here, on-site experts. If this program is done either online, if COVID continues, or physically if you come to Hong Kong, we have on-site experts here, design, fashion, retail, business development, and innovation. We want to try, really build a true community of innovation here, and that's why we have this Ideas Lab. What we want to create is a free 12-week accelerator program focusing on cutting-edge fashion, retail design, lifestyle tech teams. We want to invite you guys over, invite your community over, because our goal is to help get these teams proof of concepts, commercial contracts, and investments during the program. Kind of like the last slide I had, how we actually help teams in the past.
So James shared a really good point. The reason why we came together was because by doing it alone is not enough, and the technology part and the different aspects of how to actually get funding and how to grow, this is his expertise. How to grow businesses is my expertise. Yes. So therefore, we felt that this is a better partnership than either Jumpstart or ourselves building an accelerator program. Previous to speaking to James, we have explored a more academic route, but we realized that businesses really lack business acumen when it comes to expanding, and that's one area we can grow and help and support. I know the last case study was more manufacturing and more supply based, but we also can share a few that's non-manufacturing based, non-supply based, in which we feel that compliance work, logistics work, retail work, distribution work is areas that businesses need to help them grow. And last 2 years, I've looked into space of AI, big data, virtual, as well as AR. There are definitely a lot of other developments. In China, we're looking at smart factories, we're looking at blockchain. So we just feel that what you can think of, what you want to do, there's a testing ground for us here at Elzalvo.
Yeah, and I certainly agree. Together, we're a much better team, and to really develop this project in the right way. Elzalvo actually has this great ecosystem of supply chain, logistics, retail, partnerships where she can actually do pop-up stores right across Asia. So that's really special, and what we bring is the innovation. So what we want to do is provide participants with access to our high-value Asian network, which I think is very important. Being in the program, you'll have an automatic access to industry players, resources, the corporates that are necessary for your development, as well as investors. So the last thing that we wanted to say, which is really great, is that for teams that exhibit exceptional promise, these are the type of teams that Joanne had in her previous slides. You come in, you have a certain revenue. Once we develop that revenue, you show that you can actually have promise to grow at 5x, 10x. That'll be really great. And that's when we could explore a venture investment into your company in exchange for equity. So we'll just go very quickly on the next two slides. It's pain points, right? Because pain points are really something that we want to solve. And entrepreneurship in fashion and lifestyle can be very difficult. Because creativity, I'll do the first one, creativity does not always equate to business acumen. It's great, and I love that rare case when we actually have creatives and also business people as a one person. Obviously, that doesn't happen. Sometimes creative people really have to bring in partners. What we want to do is level the playing field. Coming into our accelerator, we believe that we could actually help creatives understand how to develop your business properly, especially in Asia.
I can share more about how to grow and scale a brand with our solid network. It's really important to actually develop that network with us and we with you, because there was a time, and a very good example, where there's a company D, and they were really courted by a private equity firm, and we actually protect them from diluting their shares and helping them grow to a little bit more solid grounds before they think through whether or not to take investors' money. Sometimes having, I guess, number 3 point, having a holistic perspective means that we're here to protect your interests as well as our respective interests to help grow. We're not here just to say this technology can do X. We're saying that we can help think through what X can do and grow with you in this capacity. A lot of times people forget, but hopefully COVID has reminded us, is that we can't do it alone. We can't do a lot of the post-technological change alone, and digitally we need to adapt, and adapting to technological change is the reason why we're here.
Yeah, and I can always say that Joanne is actually very forward thinking. So a lot of people think of traditional manufacturer. And when I met Joanne, she tells me stories. She has these special project names, right? So she's doing an AI project, which is going to be very valuable, and it'll be especially valuable for the cohort members that come in. Is really groundbreaking AI that she's doing within the fashion industry to give you a lot of intelligence that's otherwise very difficult to get. She's also even been creative enough that she's creating 3D software where you can actually see the way clothing drapes in the 3D imagery when they walk down a runway. But what's unique about it is that she didn't go for that open source package software. She actually went to a gaming company and actually got the gaming company to develop this project, because gaming companies can actually develop it in a higher level. And to me, that's forward thinking. So I really feel like we have a great partner here and a great partnership. So, and it's about scaling, understanding how to maximize opportunities in Asia. And this is something that a lot of people don't know how to do. And coming into Asia, this is something that we can help with. So solutions. So solutions now, which is great. Coming into the program, we can actually help you refine and grow your business with our structured Elzalvo accelerator program. I think when you start building a business, structure is very important. Refining your business is important. Cultivating your network is very important. And this is something that we can all do together. Definitely, you'll benefit through our centralized platform. And again, like I said, Joanne has amazing experience in supply chain, logistics, retail. So she actually has a whole retail division set up so people could go right across China, pop-up stores. This is all about her relationships and her 60 years of manufacturing with the family and her last decade knowledge.
So James just mentioned my last decade. My last decade has been in retail, mostly in lifestyle, but because of COVID last year, I've been working a lot with a few brands locally to see how we can help them divert some of their stocks and products from US and Europe to China for this particular juncture. It is difficult times for everyone, but we want to share with you some hope. In Asia, we've had a stronger recovery than most countries and most regions, and fortunate, but we don't take that for granted. That's why we're here to think through in the next 3 to 6 months, what can we do together? What can we grow? What we see here on the trading manufacturing side is a huge contraction of manufacturers not financing, not supporting retail brands. And as a result, there is a lot of restructuring on the brands level to think through how they would want to work and scale. And because of that, the old way of doing business is not here to stay. And so as we acknowledge that old way is going to evolve and change, we're here to look at a different path. And we want you guys to all be here to support us. We named it Elzalvo Project 20X. In a way, it's about the 20X revenue we hope to grow with you, but it's also hoping to look at 20 more possibilities and opportunities and to look into different topics that is very relevant to all of us that believe in this industry. I know lifestyle and fashion is a very traditional industry, is not really looked at in terms of just technologically changing, but it has. Lots of brands today have evolved because of technology, and this year has really just expedited everyone's change. So we really hope this leverages your expertise, our resources, help become a mentor in design as well as business and technological verticals, because we don't believe the old vertical one brand retailer big box way would succeed in the coming future. We believe in multi-asset of growing with each other. And one thing I think a lot of people ask is how would we work on IPs? The IPs is yours. We don't intend to actually take over that part at all. That's not the reason why we're here. We're trying to grow with you and so that your IP can commercialize and scale with a huge, huge potential here in this market.
Yeah, and I know a lot of you guys are joining from the US, or you're joining it right across Europe. We saw a lot of people from the UK, through Milan, through Switzerland. We've also want to talk about how you can scale across borders. So when you scale across borders, that's something that we could really develop in. So our program info. So this is actually some base rules and base most frequently asked questions is how long is the Elzalvo project powered by Jumpstart program? The accelerator program is 12 weeks long. It's going to start mid-March and it's going to end mid-June 2021. It could be a hybrid program because we have to be more adaptable, especially with what's happening out there with COVID, obviously. Online and offline, we'll love and welcome anyone who wants to join the program in Hong Kong. Of course, we have a pretty strict vetting process, but if you were to qualify, we'll welcome you to Hong Kong. We'll help you with a working visa. We'll help you in that process if you wanted to be here physically. But if not, virtual programs work really well at this point as well. Obviously, we're doing a Zoom call at 11 p.m. at night, and I think it's been quite effective. Who could apply for this project or this program? And what we're looking for are startup teams in fashion, design, retail, lifestyle tech. We want teams who actually are beyond the idea stage. If you've completed a prototype and the perfect, and it's not required, but this is what we look for, revenue generating of at least US $250,000, then we can actually see that your prototype is out there, is fully developed, and you have paying customers. It doesn't mean that that's going to be a rule that we're going to be very strict on, but that's generally what we look for. And what happens after the program is completed? We'll love to say that if you join us in our program, or everybody who finishes our cohort, anybody who graduates is actually going to be a permanent part of the Elzalvo family. And of course, we'll help you in your journey. We'll help you develop, and we'll answer and be your point person here in Asia as well.
This is Elzalvo's actually third year. We have been in inception for 3 years now. So we have come through different types of projects, and I must say the reason why we made this program info a little bit more detailed is because we're not the right place if it's just thinking about incubation. We're really here to accelerate. We do get a lot of inquiries from just great designers, great startups, but because the journey just from that point onto the next chapter takes 1 to 2 years. So we don't want to discourage people, but we want you to know that we're here to help you as you scale up, and the business aspect of it and the negotiate aspect of it is why we felt the accelerator out in Asia, out here, is really relevant. There are now more, I would say, virtual teams than there are previously. There are more virtual companies and nomads than there are previously because of COVID. And as a result, we're here to think through, if you're in this part of the world or worldwide, why not take a few months out of your time to actually come here and think through what are the possibilities. We have had great response from the government support. We've had great from the community. Last week, we just had a launch just to share with people who are in our space that do incubation, that if we're not the right partners for them, then perhaps they are. And so we're here really to think through how to support and grow. The office space here is pleasant, and
beautiful.
And we because I also do lifestyle and distribute and retail. We do have great design furniture in the office. And of course, if you wanted to actually reach out to our Shanghai office and Dongguan office, it's all open doors to really grow with. So with COVID, hopefully, for the bubble in terms of Hong Kong and China opening up, we definitely see how we can grow. This season, we're also looking at the mountains and the snows as well. And so we have some exciting projects that James mentioned will hopefully help a lot of different people look at fashion and lifestyle differently. So please stay tuned, and we'll definitely share more in the next few months.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to discourage people who are not at that point where they actually have revenue. We'll love to actually have our data stage people, probably not so much in the cohort itself, but we'll love to have you as friends of Azalvo, and we'll love to see your journey, because if you're not in this cohort, it could be in the future cohort. So please get to know us, and I think you'll be really happy that we're really genuine people, actually. So and we're really here to help, because a lot of people are going to say, so what does Azalvo and Jumpstart get in return? I could say, if you know who I am in the community, I actually get a lot of satisfaction of helping people, really developing worthy startups, because I love to see when startups become successful. But on a realistic side, we're also looking for those special teams. Those special teams that actually could develop into the diamond. And those diamonds will love to also have the opportunity to put in an investment in exchange for equity. And this is for the exceptional teams. And I believe there's so many exceptional teams out there. Our last slide, so thank you for being patient, is our ask. So what we want to do is, a lot of you guys are actually leaders in your space. You have a network. And I would love for you to evangelize our program. Let them know that this is actually something available here in Asia. We have our website on the bottom of every page, www.elzalvoproject.com. Please go on, please tell your friends, please really apply. This is something really special. Two, another way to help us, you could be our partners. We would love to recognize your brand and your community on our site, and recognize you as somebody who's helping us in our journey. And what do you get in return? Of course, you get our goodwill. We'll love to help you and your network whenever possible. If you run an accelerator in Europe or in the US, and you need to find people in Asia, we'll help to actually tap our network and let them know that your program is available. I think in this way, we could all learn to grow together and grow the global community together. Because we hope we find partners who are always going to be sharing the same values with us. So this is actually our end of the presentation. Thanks so much. But hold on. What we're going to do is leave the last slide up, and you're going to see that you're going to have our website, which is www.azalvoproject.com. You could email us at project20x@azalvo.com. And for those of you who work with QR codes, we put that on the screen. We're going to leave this on for the remainder of the night, and we're going to go to the question and answer session right now. So let's see.
So we have a few questions from the audience. I'm going to read them out from the chat box.
I don't know if they could hear you from that end.
I'm going to read it out from the chat box.
Okay.
So the first question is, how many teams will you be accepting in the program?
Great. So our number will not exceed 10 teams. It will actually be between 5 and 10 teams, and that really depends on the strength of the teams coming in. We always want to develop teams where everybody is in a similar level. We don't want someone who's, I have 100 million in sales and I have someone with 500,000 in sales. We think the disparity is too much. So we want to bring equally strong teams and work with teams that can actually help each other. So for me, teams coming in, you're going to be a family. Cohort 1 is going to be very, very special. You guys will learn to work together, develop together. We're going to put our heart and soul to make you guys successful.
We've put in a lot of thoughts on the subjects too, so hopefully it's very useful.
That's perfect, Joanne, because the next question is, what are some of the topics and workshops that will be covered during the 12-week program?
So it's a combination between Jumpstart and Elzalvo.
Yes.
From Elzalvo's side, we'll be looking at the supply chain in further detail, how to create a product, a prototype, how do we test and how do we license, as well as compliance work in this market. You actually learn Thailand, Japan, and China, for example, has very strict compliance license process. And for example, one thing I shared with James the other day was, you may be a fashion brand, but if you have shoes tops and dress and sunglasses is different categories. So you learn a little bit about how your prototypes going to market and what type of licenses you may need and how do you succeed. We can outsource our quality control team to learn and share with you their findings, and then we can also help you find the right suppliers. So that's, for example, one way of looking at Elzalvo's supply chain learning thought process. The others would be business acumen. We've seen so many startups not succeed at B and C stage, and so we'll probably share a little bit about the failures and what to avoid and how to grow from there. So those are a few fashion points that we've thought through that we continue to see in the market that needs some learning. And James, all about the development of the pitch and all of it that goes with it.
So I'm really more about developing your business acumen, where you could actually go out confidently and develop and grow your business. It'll be everybody coming through the program, guaranteed, will be pitch ready, investor ready, sales, marketing ready, really about thinking about how to create better teams, how to bring in financing, how to bootstrap, how to run it as a startup that could be successful. We'll teach you how to actually create a longer runway. And I think these are all necessary for anybody entering in any accelerator at this point.
We're getting a lot of questions, so I'm going to scroll up. What's the application process and judging criteria that you guys would consider most important?
So I see that we're going to be looking for teams with finished prototypes with some revenue. The revenue that we feel is a good mark is about $250,000 US. We also look for team dynamics. We'll love to see teams either with past successes, possible exits, or team camaraderie. We look for diversity in teams as well. I'd love to see founding teams that come from different backgrounds, because I think diversity brings a new element and could potentially create great rapport among all the cohort members as well. So we're looking for people who probably are not just single founders. If you're a single founder with a strong development team, that might be something you can consider, but best teams are the ones that have 2 or more founders.
I'll look more in the brand DNA part as well as the people DNA part, because I've also come across many where you sell a really good story, but at the same time you've lost track of who you want it to be during this process of growth. So for me, it's more people's person type of discussions on the route to success.
That's a really good point.
I have a question about COVID here. Fashion and lifestyle retail haven't been doing well in Hong Kong since the protests and COVID-19.
Yes.
Do you think that's going to change soon? And how can that problem or challenge be tackled?
I'll leave that to you.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's changing anytime soon. We're in a very high rental city, and as a result, a lot of retail brands are exiting the city because it's actually not a sustainable business model for them. So we will see a more localized brand culture that will come about and that will evolve. But at the same time, the sustainable footprint is really important, because the old way of taking cash to buying products and then evolving is actually not in the market. Liquid part is not as liquid as before. And so we'll see that also evolve. But on a positive note, I was just in China, and I do see other parts of the world actually improving. And so we definitely think, while Hong Kong retail space may be going through a difficult part, there are still a lot of opportunities for different brands to do well. So I didn't say don't rule out ourselves completely. I'll just say that you've got to expand a little bit further and see, even in Taiwan, or even in Thailand, even in Japan, how to grow your business and not just focus on the domestic.
Okay, great. I have another question here. Our audience said, thank you for answering my last question. Another question. So can you give us some examples of who the mentors will be and their qualifications?
Yeah, so one of the things that we pride ourselves on is developing a very strong mentor network. We would love to tap our community here in Hong Kong. We've worked with some of the best incubators, accelerators, or innovation minds. We work with the universities, we work with established designers, we work with successful teams that develop, but we also are bringing aboard a global mentor network as well. So these would be the shining stars in their respective verticals within their home country. This is something that we're going to start developing, and we're going to start uploading all the mentors on our website. So just stay tuned. This is something that we're just launching now. We launched our site last week. The program's in March. But again, what we said is one thing that we pride ourselves on is the network that you're going to receive during the program.
Another question here, does the tech have to be related to fashion? Or if, for example, I have something like an AI program that could be reworked to apply to the textile industry, can I join with that?
You can. I've been working on one myself, and it's applied from the finance industry to fashion. So I wouldn't rule out it's not, because I've had to look in different industries to actually figure out how to apply it to fashion. So I encourage your ideas to be brought to the table for us to have that discussion about it and think through. The last 3 to 6 months of Google's analytics and change, and as well as AI powered, has really helped engineer and push forward in this space. So I'm all ears. So nothing's rolled out as completely out of context for us to consider.
I say it's a resounding yes. For me, it's about not just pigeonholing yourself into a certain way to think. Even though we say we do fashion, retail, lifestyle, I believe that there's so much more out there. Be creative, bring it to us. I would love to bring tech-minded people who want to disrupt this space. So you don't have to start from the fashion side. You can start from the tech side and disrupt fashion. And that really works.
What are the opportunities for indie brands or fashion tech startups in Hong Kong specifically?
I think there's great opportunity. We don't have a preference in terms of the geographies of where people come from. We're just looking for the best teams. So we're looking for the teams that actually could provide the most potential for development. And not all teams are creative where if they come into our program, it'll work. That's something that we'll vet through and see which teams. One big thing is, are you coachable? Are you able to develop? What stage are you in? If you're an indie brand, perfect, great. You know, if you have that entrepreneur spirit and you show that you have that kind of moxie, that you actually want to go ahead and do something and change the world, disrupt the market. We love that spirit. So everybody's welcome.
When I said luxury brands will really struggle in this space, I didn't say indie brands won't do really well in this space. So please do support the local domestic market. As you can tell, we're all here in Hong Kong. We're not going anywhere. So I've definitely visited a few districts where a lot of great indie brands are doing really well, both in lifestyle and fashion. There are lots of small startups, even NGOs are in this space, and really, really proud of how far we've come and creatively. So that's why when I mention real estate being an issue, bigger brands exiting, it doesn't mean others can't take up that space. It means how do we fill that gap, and what do we fill it with?
Yes.
And I have one last question here. Does my project and or company have to have a tech solution? Can I join as just a designer with interesting new products or design?
I say yes. I mean, we're not excluding everybody. We would love to see someone implement tech, and this is something that maybe this is something that you could do down the road, but we're looking for that passion, that development. Where are you in that stage? It's not, we actually say that there should be tech involved, but again, if you have something really special, I would definitely look at the application very closely. Joanne, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm open. I think traditional designers can also learn from tech people. So if you have 5 to 10 people in the room with different ideas, I definitely think you can learn from each other. Some of the entrepreneurs I've worked with the last 3 years of starting Elzalvo has been from the grounds up a passion from a design degree, and then growing products by products and evolving. You should be very proud you've come this far.
And actually, all those case studies that Joanne talked about, they were actually designers and brands without tech elements as well. So anything could be possible, anything could be done. So.
We also have a question.
Last question. I thought the last one was the last question.
Then more questions.
Okay, more questions. I love you guys' enthusiasm.
We still have another 15.
Yeah. Sure.
So the question is, can they do the application from the website?
Absolutely. So everything is web driven. Again, I'm gonna shamelessly plug it again, www.azalvoproject.com. You go on, you could just click on apply. It doesn't take that long to apply. We will ask you for a pitch deck. So these are some of the things you need to know. We do have FAQ that can answer more of your questions, but we went over the most popular ones. So go directly on that website. It'll show you, it's probably 5 pages long. Each page is not many questions, but answer succinctly, convince us that you're the right one, and have a good deck. I think that's actually very important.
The reason why James is suggesting repeatedly a few times to remind us to check out the website is because we'll probably do 1 webinar a month and not more, so we don't bombard you with very much more information and things are happening, but we also want to engage. So we want to grow this engagement through your network, through your friends, and through those that you want to help inspire them to do better. So that's why he's reminded you some parameters, so that way we can have that dialogue more clearly and think through why you want to come to us, and here we are.
Right.
Another question is, why did you choose to hold the program in Hong Kong versus elsewhere?
That's a very good question. Well, first of all, I'm based here.
And I live here. So I'm originally from New York. I've been here for 11 years, and we're based there. And we can't travel out of the country really at this point. So
yeah, so I've moved back here 10 years ago and started my own business after working for a family business. So it's been a very interesting journey. Hong Kong, with all its uniqueness, good and bad, will definitely teach you something that you've never really expected. I think we're a unique bunch where we're crazy enough to sit together, drink together, and think about crazy ideas, as well as think what it means. Hong Kong is also one of the biggest suppliers the last 50 years to all types of different things: furniture, toys, fashion, lifestyle. So our history in terms of manufacturing and trading and retailing goes all the way back to, let's say, India and UK days. So there's a reason why we're here. James doesn't mention, but he does have background also in textile.
yes.
So that's a reason why we also believe the financing is still here. And this is actually not a bad place to start. Of course, there's a lot more and different types of financiers in both China, Thailand, and Japan, but we definitely think this is a good place to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Joanne said, I used to be in home textiles, and we developed a really great company, and that company eventually went IPO, and I'm really proud of what they've done in such a short period of time.
Great, that's all the questions that we've received so far today. I'm sure everyone will have a lot more questions.
Great. Thanks so much. And we're going to probably put this online. We're going to put this probably on the YouTube. So if you wanted to share with your community, anybody who joined today, we're going to send you a link, either via LinkedIn or the emails that you signed up with. So thank you so much for joining. Again, I'm James, and this is Joanne Chow.
Nice to meet you all. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.